Perfect.
It's the blended mix. Hey guys, it's the blended mix.
Blended families mix it up. Stronger together, we fill our cup. From ancient times to present day, blended families are here to stay. We're not second class, we're a house of love built to last.
Hey guys, thank you so much for being with us today. Happy New Year. We're so glad that you're with us. My name is Kelvin.
And my name is Meg. Today we're going to talk to you about how to plan the best year ever.
That's right. It's a practice that we've done for the last, 3 years or so, babes?
Yeah, but before we've done this together as a couple,
Yeah.
we've done it as single parents.
Single parents, yeah.
So we've been doing this for a while.
And since we've been married, we've been doing this together as a couple. And I am telling you, this has radically changed our lives, changed our marriage, changed our family, changed our finances. And so we decided that we wanted to jump on here today to share this with you, to encourage you and help you get on that path as well.
Okay, before we get into our guide that we created and how you can do this on your own time with by yourself or with your partner, let's talk about our wins and losses. We did this at the beginning of 2024. It was the first time we actually set aside 2 days to go through this process. It was really impactful. It helped us come together after a really tough year. 2022 and 2023 had been really tough years for us. And so when we did this at the beginning of 2024, we really got on the same page, and we felt a lot of hope and excitement about the future.
Well, I think for me, the beginning of last year when we did this, more than anything else, is the fact that we came together, we prayed together, we ate together, we went on walks together, we even did yoga together.
Mm-hmm.
I think there is a power and a synergy when couples are united and become single focused. And so for me, that process of taking, I think we took about a day and a half to just really kind of like lock in, as our kids like to say, lock in, really change, again, the trajectory of the year. So that was the most impactful thing for me. So we'll talk more about what those goals look like and things like that. But I just want people to understand that there is power in unity. There is power in being single focused and coming together, holding hands, looking into each other's eyes, praying for your kids together. There's something that happens that just changes the dynamic of your family throughout the year.
Mm-hmm. And it's something that we've done together from the beginning.
Yeah.
We've prayed for our kids together. What it did for me to come together as a couple at the beginning of 2024 with the way that we had a schedule and we set that day and a half aside. Yep. You created the schedule. It worked flawlessly. You took time off. You really were intentional about making that happen. For me, I'm a strong personality, so I make a lot of things happen in our house. We're both strong personalities, so we both make a lot of things happen in our house. But when you just really made that happen and took the lead on that, it did so much for me as a wife. And I'll never forget how I felt when we really did that together, because I think in year before that, we had done vision boarding together, we had done planning together, we had planned out income goals and things like that.
Yeah.
But this is where we really did it in a holistic way, all of it together, and it was a game changer.
Yeah, definitely a game changer. And I don't know. There's something also about the planning process. You know, I'm a pastor. Um, I value prayer. We both do. And but there's something about the intentionality of planning your day out, planning your schedule, coming up with goals, coming up with plans. I believe that God honors that. There's a passage in Luke that I've been reflecting on since we've been thinking about this. It's found in Luke chapter 14, verse 28 to 30. It talks about Jesus talking about the cost of following him, the cost of discipleship. He talks about that no one sets out to build a house without sitting down first and estimate, what is this going to cost me? What type of materials is it going to take to make this happen? Our house, our lives, we're building something. And I think for us, you and I, one of the things that we've said to each other is that we want to build a family legacy. You don't just build a family legacy without plan, without any purpose. And so I think that word has been stirring in my spirit, that in the same way that we will build a house, in the same way we'll build a bridge, we'll build different things.
Yeah.
We don't just throw stuff on the wall and I hope it sticks. No, you have to have intentionality. And in the intentionality, then you pray, and God honors that, and God meets you there. And little by little, you start seeing the impact of that, the result of that, as you make it a very intentional thing.
So good. And let's talk about we started like that, really strong. We estimated what it was going to cost. We put our goals out. We did all of that. At the end of 2024, we sat down and we looked at what our goals had been.
Yeah.
And everything didn't go the way we had planned.
Right.
For example, for me, one of my big goals was to re-enter the workforce, if you will, and go back to work and kind of lock into my career again, because for the first 3 years of our marriage, the plan was for the first 2 years of our marriage that I would pull back from my career and I would really be at home with our kids. They really needed that. I wanted to do that as well. They also we all kind of needed time to cocoon and become a family, I guess. So at the end of, that time, I was ready to go back to work. What I couldn't have planned for was some health challenges that happened this year. We also had our kids full time for almost 5 months, which was awesome. That was such a gift. But different things kept happening. I even started a job and then I didn't even make it 90 days because they wanted me to work weekends, and it wasn't really what I'm really good at doing, even though I was good at that job because I like learning new things. But we came through this year and we didn't hit our income goals. We actually had
some
losses in business and in health. But like when we sat and looked at what our intentionality that we had set, which is different than a monetary goal, the intentionality that we still kept throughout the year as a result of setting our vision at the beginning of the year, that remained.
And that's the thing, when we sat down last year, first thing we did was we looked at, some of the wins, some of the highlights of the year. Number one, very easy, was pretty cool. But then sitting down and looking at some of the things that we grieved, I mean, it was, and that's the thing with this process, you have some highs and you have some lows. And it was a hard year, and that's the thing about doing kind of like an audit of your life at the beginning of the year. You see areas where you didn't do so well, and then you ask yourself, well, what was God trying to teach me through that? What did I learn from that? Because you don't just learn stuff when you win, you learn stuff when you lose as well. When you go through some valleys, and man, it was some tough valleys. The income thing for us was tough year for us. There were some things I didn't check off on my list as well. One of the things I wanted to do last year was see a nutritionist. I wanted to read X number of books and I wasn't able to do certain things like that, but it's okay. That's the thing about this process. It's your goal is not to check everything off. Your goal is not to achieve everything that's on the list. Your goal is to just be more intentional. Whatever that looks like for you is to be more intentional.
It's really good.
So let's go through the guide a little bit about this is what the guide looks like. Create the
So
vision.
what's in it?
Yeah, what is in it? Let's go through this. We did this again this year. For us, we took some time off and went to Cheyenne, Wyoming. I've never been there before. My wife had been there before. We got an Airbnb.
There's nothing there.
There's some cowboys up there, I think. But again, we just pulled away, spent some time just reflecting. So let's go to the guide. Let's just go through it a little bit
So
of what it looked like.
What's in it? So the first thing that you do in this guide that you'll see is a list of supplies. You don't have to have all of those supplies. In fact, don't let anything that's kind of like the schedule or the supplies keep you from doing this. If it's easy to order, we made an Amazon list so you can drop it in your cart. If it's easy to order some of these things and you don't even need all of them. We actually did not use a whiteboard this year. We used really cheap 50-cent posters
Come on.
to put our goals on, and we did have a year at a glance calendar from Amazon that we had. So there's a supply list that helps you. There's
Schedule. There is
three different options.
There's three different options. There is a half-day schedule.
Mhm.
There's a full-day schedule, and then there is a 2-day schedule.
So you can do it individually or as a couple. If you even aren't a single parent, this is going to be helpful. I know it's a little harder to do this kind of thing as a single parent, but you deserve this.
Yes.
And you owe it to yourself to just
Yes.
hit pause.
Yes.
And the other thing I want to mention is that you don't even have to do this at the top of the year.
Right.
Say 3 months have gone by and you're going to do this at the top of the next quarter,
Right.
or you're going to do this at the top of your fiscal year or your religious year that you celebrate and observe. You can do that with this guide. This does not have to start in January. There is one section that has the months in the calendar year that starts with January. However,
You can do
you
whatever.
can really do this
Yeah.
anytime you
Yeah.
want.
Yeah. There is 365 days in a year.
Mhm.
You deserve at least a day, half a day, or 2 days to really sit down and think about where do you want to be. Take the time, whatever that looks like for you. Maybe it's a series of, maybe you're working and you want to do it like 3 nights in a row. It doesn't matter how you do it. The point of this exercise is to say to yourself, I deserve better. I deserve to, make a plan for whatever it is that you want to achieve as a single mom, single dad, or as a couple. Where is it that you want to go? Take the time to do it. I think that's probably the biggest thing here is you deserve the time. So make it happen.
Agreed.
All right.
The first part of the guide is all about taking a time to celebrate,
Right.
looking back, looking at the wins from the past year. And that's just fun. You don't overthink that.
Right.
You open your phone, you go through your camera reel.
Let me say something about that first, babe, because the exercise, when you get this guy, the exercise, the first thing is to just think through a little bit about some of the highlights without your phone. And it's interesting
Yeah.
because you run out of things that you did quickly, like highlights. Like the first time I did
You're
this,
right.
like 2 minutes, I was done. 2 minutes, I was done. Then the exercise encourages you to pull out your phone and list the things based on, the month.
Each month, yeah.
month. And I am telling you, you go from 2 minutes to probably over an hour because there's so much that's happening in your life.
Yeah.
It's so rich, the experiences that we have, that sometimes we just forget.
Yeah, it's true. You could have a year that you feel like there's really nothing to
Yeah.
celebrate. And then you start going through your phone and you see, some random time you went and got tacos with your kids, or you went and took advantage of that free Dairy Queen
Come on.
Dairy Queen
Yes,
day.
yes.
And all of a sudden things start shifting because you remember the good that happened.
Yeah. Lots of good.
Yes,
Lots of
so
good.
much good, so much good. And then there's a time to grieve.
Yeah. Because we also have that too.
Yeah, and that's important.
Mm.
And we don't stay stuck there super long. That section is actually a little shorter than the celebration section, but we acknowledge what was really challenging. And it goes into 5 different key areas of your life.
Yeah.
And you look at what was challenging in each area. What were those obstacles? What was tough? And you know what's really insightful is what's challenging for you is not going to be the same as what's challenging for me. And a year ago when we did this, and I'm going back to our process, but this is important. This was something that was really important, like that happened, is when I saw what was really hard for you, because we shared ours with each other, I thought, wow, I didn't know that was that hard for him. And it helped me to have compassion.
Yeah.
It helped me to realize how much you cared about something that I had felt like impacted me more than you. But it really, I don't even know if we would have really had a way to bring that up to each other without this process. And because it had happened 6 months earlier, we weren't in the middle of all the like, rah, of it all. It was more of like an acknowledgement that was really hard for you.
Yeah.
Okay, wow. And then we move on after what we grieve. We move into a section of start, continue, stop.
Yeah, so we talk about in that section some of the things that we would like to stop doing is the first thing, and then some of the things that we would like to continue to do, and then something that we would like to stop to do. And again, with the stop section, don't overthink it. In fact, that's also a very short section.
Yeah.
Because you shouldn't have like 10 different things that you
It's not, there might be 10 bad habits that you should stop, but realistically, you're not going to stop 10 bad habits
all at once.
All at once. So we've made that section brief because we know that there's 1 or 2 bad self-sabotaging habits or unhelpful, maybe not bad, but unhelpful things that you could stop, and you can stop 1 or 2 in several different areas of your life.
I'll just share one quickly. For me, I tend to overthink things a lot. And one of my commitments was to minimize that and not do it as much in the stop section, because I will just think about it, research it, and before you know it, the paralysis thing happens, and you get stuck. Your feet get stuck in cement. So my commitment this year was to like, let's just stop that a little bit more. So
that's good. That's good. I think for me, one of the things I want to stop doing is I want to stop dwelling on disappointments. And this was big, and that's pretty general. I have some more specific examples, but whether it's my health or feeling like I kind of lost myself in the whole mom mode season, or it's just I would start to dwell on some disappointments that will really start having me spiral and just not be my best self. And I've identified a few ways that I do that make me start to become cynical. And so taking captive of some of my thinking around that and switching my focus to planning things that are fun, doing things that are fun. That's really important. Our next section, do you want to say anything more about that?
Let's go to the next section, which is probably my favorite, which is the continue. What are the things that you want to continue doing? I'm sure that you have positive things that you have in your life, whether it's habits, whether it's practices, by yourself, with your spouse, or with your kids. What are those things? For example, I started working out last year, like a lot more, and there's something that I want to continue to do. At the end of the year, one of the things that I started doing that I want to continue doing, I planned a fun date with my beautiful wife here, with Meg. We went axe throwing, and one of these days I'll talk to you about the whole axe throwing thing that we did because there is some backstory to that. But man, we had some fun. We first of all we went on to it was an epic date night, guys, epic date night.
It was. It was epic. I mean, it was mostly epic for you because you were really good at axe throwing, but I mean,
Well,
that was okay.
so we first of all, guys, we went out to a cowboy boot
We went to Boot Barn.
boot barn, and my wife got her a beautiful pair of cowboy boots. Something I wanted us both to do is to get cowboy boots. We live in Colorado, okay, and I do not own a cowboy boots, so I wanted to change that.
Yeah.
Right after that, we went out to eat,
Mm-hmm.
and then after we ate, we went axe throwing. And man,
Yeah.
it's something that was
So
fun, and
fun.
it's something that I want to continue to do in the new year because it was fun.
So cool that you planned that. And speaking of that, we're talking about what we continue. I did miss one part of our process. You have a time to celebrate, a time to grieve, and then before you do the stop, continue, start section, you have a time to grow where you look
Yeah.
back and you learn. You write
did I
down what
learn
you've
about
learned,
myself?
especially during the hard stuff and the struggles. And so you talking about this fun date made me think about one thing that I learned, and especially in regards to feeling like, especially if I'm becoming cynical or hard, because of the disappointments and the hard things. Uh, I don't think in the um, our first 4 years of blending a family, I don't think there's been a year that wasn't hard in some way, whether we were being taken to court, whether there was something that we were really worried about with some of our kids and something they were going through. It's just every year, or if there's been health challenges or something going wrong with our rental houses, there's been something that's been difficult in every season. The thing I've realized that draws us closer together, melts the awkward things or melts the hard things that we're going through, is having fun.
Yeah, it's so important to have fun together.
Yeah, it's a game changer.
Hmm.
And it's important to plan it so that it
Yeah.
actually happens.
Yeah.
And speaking of, we have a section called the start section.
Yeah. Those are the things that you would like to start. Again, you don't want to start like a million things, but there are some things that you want to start. Maybe it's a year that you want to start writing a book. Maybe it's the year you want to start um, reading the Bible, doing different things like that. I don't know. I kind of.
Mm-hmm. Talk about, this is a conversation we were having in the car about the power of starting.
Yes. Yes. There is something about starting. Even the process of starting um, with intentionality, this process with your spouse or with yourself, it's so important. It's so important to just get that engine going, get that car rolling. There's something that happens in your mind. You start seeing things that are happening around you. You start being more grateful. There's something about starting that just changes your lifestyle. So
Yep.
we really want to encourage you to. And starting is hard.
Yeah.
It's hard. Like
I think it starts with making a decision.
yes,
Deciding something in your heart, like I'm going to I'm going to
Yes.
go.
yes,
You turn the engine
yes,
on the ignition. You turn the ignition on the engine and it starts. You make a decision.
mm-hmm.
And then,
And when you start, things start happening.
right. And you might say, because there was a period last year where I felt like, okay, my freelance work has dried up. This has happened. That has happened. I need to think outside of the box. And I made a decision. I updated my resume. I interviewed at 4 or 5 different businesses the following 2 weeks. I got a job offer. I took the offer, even though it was something I had never done before. And I went for it. I became a licensed health insurance agent, and I decided, you know what? I'm going to humble myself. I'm going to do something different. That ended up not working out, but it started
Yeah.
a chain of things
Yeah.
where I ended the year
Yeah.
having new work that I loved and enjoyed and felt really fulfilled in. But if I would not have made some decision
Yeah.
in the middle of the year, like, you know what, you know, I would have just
Yeah.
kept floundering, kept feeling stuck.
Yeah. There's something about starting. There's something about putting yourself out there. There's something about exposure. It's, getting in the car and driving downtown, wherever that downtown might be for you, and saying to yourself, I am going to do this. That decision, that act, that declaration, even though you may not accomplish that particular thing that you set out to do, because you've decided, other areas of your life start following you. Your body starts following and starts saying, oh my goodness, we need to go. We need to go.
Yeah.
And so there is something about that decision. I am going to plan out my life. I am going to do this, X, Y, and Z, whatever that might be. It just, there's something that changes in your thinking, that changes in your body, that changes in the way that you present yourself when you start taking action. Again, you may not accomplish, I want to make $150,000 a year. You may not accomplish that in the year,
Right.
but there is something that takes place on the inside of you that changes the trajectory of your life. You start meeting new people. You start making decisions that your kids are wondering, what's wrong with mom? What's wrong with dad? Because they just see you moving. You're going for walks. You're taking care of yourself. Again, small decisions
Yeah.
over time, kind of like the book Atomic Habits, over time produces results.
Yep. And making a decision, that initial decision, begins unlocking things in the atmosphere, the universe. Things begin to work, and something begins to come together, to open up. And you don't know everything that's going to happen,
Yeah.
but it's so important to make the decision and to start.
Yeah.
Finally, the final part of this process for us is that we take everything that we've learned from the past year. It informs our decision making going forward, and we begin to start putting things on a calendar.
Yeah.
And the first part of that is very practical.
Very practical.
We look at the school calendar and say, this is when our kids have spring break, days off school, holidays, and we make sure those are on the calendar. And then we move to our jobs, our careers. What's travel that's already booked that we put on the calendar? What's happening with our friends? What weddings are we attending? So we start putting the biggest events that we already know are happening on the calendar, especially in the first quarter of the new year.
Yeah. Then we start talking about some of the dreams that we have, some of the things that we would like to accomplish, and that's when we pull out the whiteboard. And for you, it might be a whiteboard, or you might be a 50 cents poster board that we got from Walmart, and we just start putting things down. We have actually identified a few areas, major areas, that you may want to use or you may not want to use. But for us, it's travel. Travel is very important for us. Home improvement. We have 5 kids, and so we're always trying to do things. Like one of the things we did last year was add an extra room in our home, in our loft, because we got so many kids.
Yes, now every kid has their own room. Really big deal.
But that happened because at the beginning of the year, we actually set out to say, hey, this is something that we need to do. We need to make sure that every kid have a room in the house.
And when it comes to home improvement and big expenses, sometimes those things are more achievable than you think, because we had a rough year financially, but because at the beginning of the year we said what we wanted to do when it came to home improvement and building a room for another bedroom so that all of our kids could have their own room. We got multiple quotes.
Yeah.
We found the right person, and it cost so much less than we budgeted.
Yeah.
But we had already started saving, and so that's why that was able to happen.
Yeah.
This year, one of the things that we've put on our list is replacing our furnace. It's probably 30 years old.
Yeah.
We know at some point it's
going
to
to
die. So let's just go ahead and
plan it, man.
save up for what that's going to cost.
Yeah. So, again, you may also have things that, whether it's your health that you want to plan out, you can put the category for that. Another category for us is individually businesses and income goals that we want to achieve. Maybe it's writing a book. You want to put that down. Maybe it's starting something. You can have a category for that. We've identified some of those things in there to help you jumpstart that, but you can come up with your own categories as well. But that is the practical section of the guide, is literally getting on the wall and putting stuff down. And sometimes you put stuff down that may not happen, but there's something about putting it down. Most of the things that we put down, it happens. And so don't be afraid to dream. Don't be afraid to just put it out there. God honors that, I believe, as we step out in faith and says, God, this is what I would like to do, and he honors that.
So good.
It is good.
We're going to have a link to this guide below with everything that we've talked about. But what if this is later in the year, or somebody feels too busy to do this, or they're married to somebody who was just not into this?
That's good.
Let's talk about that.
That's good. First of all, the busyness. We're all busy. Let's just get it out there. All of us are busy. But I want you to understand that you deserve this. This is important for you. Your life matters. As important as it is to prioritize work, if you're working for a boss or someone else, it is important that you prioritize your life. As important as it is, your kiddos, maybe you're like us, you have 5 kids, take the time. And again, however that might look like, for you it might be a series of nights, maybe 3 nights in a row, because you don't have the time during the day, because you have little ones, and the little ones are, if you have triplets or something, I don't know who I'm talking to. But maybe when they go to sleep, prioritize it, make it happen. So we're all busy, but at the same time we can make it happen because it's important for us.
And I would say, if you're a couple that, you actually feel like going through this process is just too intimidating, or even not something that you're into, even if you take a moment to do this, go through some of these questions individually, you don't have to share the answers with each other. Even if you came together to tell each other how you've seen each other grow, or you came together to say, let's pray for us, let's pray for our marriage, or let's pray for our kids, or taking a walk together. One of the best things that we did when we've done this is just taking a walk together, to take a break and to pray together, or to just talk. That could be a win.
Oh, yeah.
You can really simplify this process. You don't have to go through the whole guide. Just to take a moment, though, to come together and pray for your year ahead, or pray for your kids, is huge.
Yeah. The whole objective is not to check things off the box. I know there might be some people out there who are type A personality who want to go through, and you're married to someone who is not. Don't feel like the other partner has to be like you. Again, the goal is to come together, to pray together, you spend 2 hours together. It's a win to just pray and to just talk about, some dreams without even writing anything down. That is a win, the objective. When we've done this, what we've noticed is that we've been able to come together. Intimacy has grown, blossomed. We've been able to do marriage therapy because of it. And so the whole objective of this is not to become this mechanical,
Yeah.
I'm going to check out. If your spouse come together with you, hold hands, look into each other's
Yeah.
eyes and pray, that's a
Mm.
win. And
That's
that's
such
our
a win.
prayer for you.
Hold my hand, babes. See, just like this.
Just like that. That's the win. That's the win, gentlemen.
Such a win. So no matter how you, what you take from this, we just wanted to share what we've learned and how we've grown as a result of coming together and having a vision day. We hope that whatever you take from this, it helps you. We didn't want to be gatekeepers that are keeping all of this to ourselves.
Right.
We wanted to share because this has helped us so much.
Right. And so many of you have reached out, and this is why we've
Right.
put this thing together. So to encourage you, to let you know that you are seen, that you are on your way, you can make this happen, you got this, we're praying for you. So get the guide.
And until next year or the next season, we'll see you again.
Let us know how you're doing. Share with us
Yes.
as well. Share with us. Maybe
Yes.
tag us on something, I don't know.
Yes, if you download this guide, definitely send us a message or leave a comment below this video and just let us know how you liked it, or give us your feedback.
Yeah,
Tell us
feedback
what
is
doesn't
good.
work. So yeah, we want to hear from you.
Thank you, guys. Take care.